Hi, welcome back. Today I want to talk about one of the bigger challenges of being a working mom, especially when you're in the corporate world, and that's the lack of quality time that you have with your children when you're working full time. It just isn't there the way that maybe we want it to be. And I know that because I've been there. I've been that mom who worked 40, 50, 60 hours a week. I've been the mom who traveled, who was sitting in a restaurant at 7 a.m. with a coworker trying to frantically text because the nanny was sick and my husband was about to wake up. You know, he's in a time zone 2 hours away. He was going to wake up and find out he didn't have childcare that day. And he had clients in town and I was out of state. You struggle. There's just so much going on when you're in the corporate world and you've got young kids. And so often the time you have with your children doesn't feel like quality time because you are running. You're trying to get everything done. Your weekends are spent running from Costco to Target to swim lessons to dance lessons to soccer. You're tag teaming it. You're handing one kid off to a spouse and you guys are each going somewhere different. And there's no family time. There's no quality time. Your evenings are a mad dash from the time you pick the kids up and you're probably running trying to beat the clock at aftercare or before daycare closes so that you don't have the last kid. Like there's this perfect mix of not leaving too early and not leaving too late and not being the last kid. And anyone else have that pressure of making sure I don't want to be the last kid? So you're trying to make sure you get there. You never want to have the last kid at daycare because then they get upset. So then you're like mad dash home. You're trying to make dinner. You're trying to get them bathed. You're trying to get them in bed. And you look and you realize, I don't even know what we did tonight because it was so hectic. And that pattern goes on again and again and again. And you feel like you're just in Groundhog Day and you're just repeating it constantly. It sucks. It's not what a lot of us signed up for when we had kids. But we want to keep our careers, but we want to be there and we want to have more quality time with the kids. And that's where it gets so hard. So when you become an entrepreneur and you run your own business and you are your own boss, you have so much more flexibility and freedom with your schedule that you can move things around. And that allows you quality time with your kids. So for me, I hate crowds. I don't want to go to Costco on a Saturday. That sounds like torture. I would much rather go to Costco on Tuesday afternoon at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock and then pick up my groceries, swing by, pick up my kid, come home. We're done for the day. We put groceries away and then maybe we play, we build a puzzle, we do an art craft, whatever it is. That way you get that quality time with your kid, you get your errands done, you get those experiences. I used to love to go and pick my son up when the weather is nice, pick him up early once in a while and take him to the park and just let him run and run his energy out so that he goes to bed early. Easier, let's be real. But those are the things that you can do. It allows you to have much more quality time with your kids rather than stressing about spring break and what camp am I going to send them to. You can schedule yourself off. And then you're not trying to juggle everything. You're not trying to work from home. You're just off that week. And now you can go, when things are open, you can go to the kids museum. You can go to the zoo. You can bake special cakes. We did May break last year. We had grandma come visit for a few days and we made a unicorn cake and we went to the zoo and we went out to lunch and we just did all sorts of fun things together for that break week. And then he was ready to go back to daycare and I was ready to go back to work. And we felt like we had reconnected. That's what I'm talking about. Like when you are self-employed, you don't have that pressure and that struggle on a daily basis to make everything work and to beat the clock. And you have more quality time. You know, your morning time with your kids when you're commuting and you're trying to get into the office by 8 a.m., sometimes you can feel like you've battled the world by 8 o'clock. Like, I never understood it until I had kids. But by 8, when you get there, sometimes you've worked half a day. You know, you've made breakfast, you've gotten little kids dressed, you've asked them to put their shoes on 27 times. You've hopefully gotten them in the car with their shoes on. There's so much stress. And I'm not saying there's not stress in that same scenario when you're working for yourself, but you have the benefit of being able to control your schedule, and you're able to say, I don't take meetings before 9 a.m., which cuts down on the stress, which makes your mornings more quality time. You have the option, if you want to be the mom that makes some fancy breakfast every day, have at it. Pancakes, French toast, oatmeal, whatever. I'm more a cereal mom during the week just because, life, there's still a lot of moving parts. But you can do what works for you, and you can build those memories for your kids, and you have that quality time. You can volunteer in their classroom. You can take them on extended trips and show them the world. You can do anything you want. If you're feeling like, I've got a lot of time with my kids, right now, we're in a pandemic. Dude, I get it. I don't need more time with my kid. I love him, but childcare would be amazing. But during normal times, under normal circumstances, we have more quality time together now that I've made the change. We are not rushing just to get through the motions in the evening. And this was one of the main reasons that I chose not to go back to the corporate world. So I was interviewing for positions that were my level, so, senior director, VP of marketing, after I was laid off. So most of you, if you know my story, you know that in November of 16, my position was eliminated. I had been with a New York-based ad agency for almost 5 years. I was the senior director overseeing content marketing and SEO, and I had a team in 3 different states, and I traveled a lot, and I loved my career. My company sold, and they laid off a number of the management team about 60 days later, and I was one of the people who was laid off. And when it first happened, I couldn't imagine not going back to work because I earned a really good living, and I didn't want to give that up. And for many years, my career defined me. I was very proud of what I did. I was very successful, and that was very important to me. And then I had this little guy, and he was 16, 17, 18 months old, somewhere in that range when I got laid off. And as soon as I had that quality time with him in the mornings, I was seeing him in the morning. I was the one taking him to preschool. Prior to that, my husband had been the one who waited in the morning until the nanny got there. And then when he started preschool, he was the one who dropped him off at preschool, and I picked him up in the afternoon. Well, suddenly I had my mornings with him, and we had quality time. It wasn't just mad dash. It was like I could actually sit down and have breakfast with him, and we could play, and we could get dressed. I could take him to school. And then in the afternoons, I picked him up. And again, rather than a mad dash, because I wasn't trying to rush through getting dinner on the table, getting him home, getting dinner on the table, and getting him bathed and in bed by 7, because little kids go to bed really early, I had that time with him. I had an extra hour in the morning. I had another hour or 2 in the afternoon. I didn't want to give that up. As I started interviewing for other jobs, I realized I wouldn't take something that was 8 to 5, that had significant commute, that was not going to allow me to have that time that I had just found with my son. I just wasn't willing to do it again. And thankfully I had my husband's blessing, and we were able to forego my income for a while so that I could build this business. And now he's 5. He's supposed to start kindergarten. We spend mornings together. We spend afternoons together. I'm one of the moms who volunteered at the preschool if they needed help, because I have that control over my schedule. So if you're sitting here and you're thinking, I relate way too much to the corporate Rachel, the mom who's getting the text from the nanny that she's sick when she's in another state at a client meeting, who's now trying to find alternative childcare before her husband wakes up for the day and finds out that he has no one. If there's a better way. If you're tired of rushing from one thing to the next, or spending your Saturday going from soccer to ballet to t-ball to Costco to Target to just nonstop, there's a better way. There's a way to have more quality time with your kids. And that's by being your own boss. The corporate world's not going to do it for you. You're going to have to do it. But you can. I swear. You can do it. I did it. I figured it out. I was really good at marketing. I wasn't really good at business. I didn't know how to build a business, but I learned. And that's what I'm now teaching. It's my passion to help other moms figure this out and get to the point where life is better for you and your family. So if you're ready to learn about it, what I want you to do, get started by downloading a copy of the Business Builders Guide. It is 5 or 6 businesses that you can build from home with very little money without having to do any sleazy sales tactics or reach out to people that you went to high school with about your opportunity. There's no MLM type stuff. This is true businesses using your experience and your education, helping you figure out how to transition your career into entrepreneurship. And then I teach all the business side of it. So if you're feeling like I'm really good at X, but I don't know anything about business, that's what I teach. It's not that hard to figure out. I'll show you the way. So get started with the Business Builders Guide today. And then as the Business Builders Blueprint opens up, I want you to sign up. I want you to take the class with me, and we're going to take that idea and we're going to test it out. And we're going to figure out what is the right business for your family, where you can use your education and your experience, and you can create something that's going to allow you to grow and expand and change your family tree if that's what you want to do, change your family history, but really be that mom that you want to be. So sign up, get started with the Business Builders Guide, and then in time, the Business Builders Blueprint will launch. Not quite sure on the launch date because we're in the middle of a pandemic and I have very limited childcare. And in order to maintain the balance for our family, I've had to slow down the release of it. I'll be real honest. I can't do it all with a 5-year-old and be the kind of mom that I want to be and have the quality time with my kids. So I'm practicing what I preach right now. So as soon as it's available, I will let everyone know. It's coming along good, but I can't do it all as fast as I would like to or as fast as I had planned. So that's it for today. Thanks so much for joining me. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you are alerted when new videos are posted. I post one a week. And thanks for being here. Happy to have you.